Okay. Hello, dear students. We started our lab or lecture about the salivary glands. It's مختصر from the salivary gland, just some review point, some pictures about the salivary glands. Okay. First, types of the gland. Patient.
بله دكتورة.
ئەوە یەکێک ئاوا داخل دەبن دینەی ئینتەر دەبی بکە یەکێک بۆیان یان بۆ خۆیان دەبی ئەوە بکەین.
نا پێویست ناکە.
یعنی بۆ خۆیان ئێستا داخل دەبن پێویست ناکە ئێستاوەی چ لێ بکەم دینەی ئینتەر کەم دینەی ئۆڵ
دەتوانین دینای کەی بەس بابێنە ژوورە تا دیانی
ئەوەی لێ دەم
ئەکسەپتیکە ینی
دینەی ئۆڵ
دینای کەی ناتان بێنە ژوورێ
وەڵا لێمدا
عادێ ئەگەرەوە بوو جارێکی دی ویستان جوێنکەنەوە ئەکسەپتێکی داگرە بە هەمووی بێن.
Okay. We talk about the types of the gland. We have two kinds of the gland, endocrine, exocrine. Endocrine or ductless gland, we have two types, endocrine and exocrine. Endocrine, it means they didn't have duct, but exocrine, they have duct. They secrete their secretion into the bloodstream through the duct, while the endocrine, they directly secrete their product into the bloodstream. The product of the endocrine called hormones, while the product of exocrine called saliva, sweet, digestive secretion. So the endocrine or ductless gland, like pituitary, thyroid, adrenal, secrete substance known as the hormones directly into the bloodstream rather than through the ducts. Exocrine glands like saliva, sweet, digestive, discharge their product through the duct. Okay. Now we talk about the salivary gland as a general. The salivary glands are exocrine glands with ducts that produce saliva and pour their secretion into the oral cavity. Okay, so we have the paired parotid gland, we have paired submandibular gland, we have paired sublingual glands. Also, we have the minor salivary glands. They are minor salivary glands, those in the mucosa of the lip, cheek, palate, floor of the mouth, and oropharynx. They are vary in number. A lot of minor salivary glands. Okay, so first we talk about the parotid gland, but before it, the salivary glands may be classified as a major and minor glands. Major glands are paired glands. They are parotid, submandibular, and sublingual glands. There are numerous minor salivary glands which are widely distributed into the oral cavity. First, parotid salivary glands. The parotid salivary gland, the para it mean around. Para it mean around. Otid it mean ears. It is the largest of three major salivary glands because we have three major salivary glands. So we have the as I say, parotid, sublingual, submandibular, but the largest of the three salivary glands, it's the parotid. As I say, para, it means around. Otid, it means ears. So parotid, it means the gland that placed location it's around the ears. It present on each side of the face. It's kind of triangular in shape. The shape is triangular. The shape of the parotid gland is triangular and divided into the deep lobe and superficial lobe. This deep and superficial lobe is separated by the facial nerve. Parotid gland enclosed within the capsule, which is derived by investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. So it have the capsule, it enclosed by a capsule which is derived by investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. About the location of the parotid gland, the parotid gland bordered by many structures, superiorly by the zygomatic arch, anteriorly by the masseter muscles, inferiorly by the inferior border of the mandible, and posteriorly by the external ear and sternocleidomastoid muscles. The parotid gland have the parotid duct, also known as the Stinsons duct, piercing before piercing the buccinator muscles. It's open to the oral cavity near the upper second molar teeth. This information just as general, okay? Function of this secretion, this saliva, it's a serious watery enzyme that contain the enzyme. The saliva contains the enzyme that secrete to the oral cavity through the duct. The duct name is Stinsons duct. The function is for the lubrications, moisturizing of the mouth, breakdown of the carbohydrate. Some carbohydrate they break down in the oral cavity by the function of the saliva, and also antimicrobial function. These are the overall view about the parotid gland. Okay, now we started. So the parotid salivary gland, it's the largest of all salivary glands. The shape is irregular, pyramidal in shape. About the locations, it lies below the external acoustic meatus, it means ears. It wedges between the ramus of the mandible and the sternomastoid muscles. It extends upwards till the level of zygomatic arch and down to the angle of the mandible. So this is the shape of parotid gland. As you see, it's the irregular triangular shape present on each side of the face. It's around the ears. It's kind of triangular shape. It's not regular, it's irregular shaped. And as you say, look at these pictures. It have the duct, and because it have a duct, it called the duct called Stinson duct, that secrete their saliva directly into the oral cavity. The secretion product, it's called saliva. The secretion product, it's called saliva. Okay, so this shape is so important. This is the parotid gland. This is the parotid duct. And also these pictures show the sublingual glands and its duct, and also submandibular gland and its ducts. پێشنگ دەنگم واضحە؟
بەڵێ واضحە تا ئێستا هیچ عیبی نیە دکتۆرە.
ئۆکێ، ئەوەی ئەگەر لەسەر شاشە بینم هیچ دەستکاری نەکەم وانە؟
بە کەیف خۆت. It's up to you.
پێویست ناکە بۆ خۆیان داخل دەبن، جوین دەبن؟
بەڵێ بەڵێ.
ئۆکێ. The main structure within the substance of the gland. This relation of this facial nerve and retromandibular vein is very important. You must know about that. Why? Because during surgery, it's very important to notice that the main structure are passing through the parotid gland. So the doctors, the dentist must be very conservative during surgery of the parotid glands. It's very important to be conservative, more sensitive during the operations of around the parotid gland. Why? Because we have many structures that passing through the parotid gland. From the superficial to the deep, first we have the facial nerve and its branch. So the facial nerve and its 5 branch are passing through the parotid gland. Okay, and also this facial nerve divided the parotid gland into 2 lobes, the deep lobe and superficial lobe. Also we have the retromandibular vein and its 2 divisions, maxillary vein and superficial temporal vein. Also the external carotid artery and its 2 terminal branch are passing through the parotid gland. Okay, this picture show okay. These pictures show the structure within the parotid gland. As I said before, the parotid gland during surgery at this location, at this area that present the parotid gland, the dentist or the doctors, the surgeons must be more conservative because we have many important structures that passing through this parotid gland. First of all, the facial nerve, the facial nerve, as I said before in the previous lectures, the facial nerve passing through the parotid gland, and in this area it's divided into five terminal branches. So any mistake here may
دكتورة
be بله.
دەتانی وانی ئەو ریکوێستانە لە دێ ئەکسپتیکەی هەتا جۆین بکەن هەندێکیان بۆ دێ ئەگەر هات پیشانی
طبعا
دا لەسەرێ
view all لدى
لە جاتی دینای بکەی یان دینای ئۆڵ بکەی ئەکسپتیان کە هەتا بتان بێن
admit
بەڵێ
نازم استتواوە
خۆی هەر جارێک یەکێک بێت ئەو پۆپ ئەپ بۆ دێت ئەجا بەس ئەدمیتیان کە ئەو کێشە نابێتن
اوكي. So for the new student that come to the join the online, it's quick review. We have the salivary glands. They are paired salivary glands. They are exocrine. Exocrine mean they have ducts. Endocrine, it means they didn't have ducts. They secrete their product directly to the bloodstream. Their product for the endocrine gland, like thyroid, like pituitary glands, called hormones, while for the exocrine that have the duct, it's called the saliva. Okay, so or sweet, okay, sweet glands, salivary glands. And about the largest of the salivary glands, we have the three types. The largest of them are major salivary glands. It's present on each side of the face, and it's not a regular, but it's a regular, irregular, triangular shape. It's kind of triangular shape, and because of passing of the facial nerve, it divided into the deep lobe and superficial lobe. So they separated this deep lobe and superficial lobe by the facial nerve. Also, before I say that the parotid duct, their name is Stinsons Duct. It before piercing the vaccinator muscles, it's open to the oral cavity near the upper second molars. These salivary glands, they secrete the saliva. They are serious type, and it's watery and contain enzyme. That this enzyme it's for the lubrications or moisturings of the oral cavity, also breakdown of the some carbohydrates, and also have the antimicrobial factors, agents. Okay, so another thing that we talk about the parotid gland, the important thing that the parotid gland, you can see at these pictures, the parotid gland enclosed within the capsule. So the parotid gland have a capsule which is derived by investing layer of the deep cervical fascia. About the locations, this is the locations of the parotid gland. Locations, it's bordered by many structures, superiorly by the zygomatic arch, anteriorly by the masseter muscles, inferiorly by the inferior border of mandible, and posteriorly by external ear and sternocleidomastoid muscles. Also, we talk about the structures that within the parotid gland. There are many important structures that passing through the parotid gland. The important one, the facial nerve, as I said before in the previous lectures, the facial nerve and its five terminal branch. In the picture also you can see its five terminal branch, they passing through the parotid gland. So here during surgery the dentist or the surgeon must be more conservative, precise. Why? Because it may um, uh, danger facial nerve may be trauma to the facial nerve, okay, during the surgery. So the operations in this area, it must be conservative, okay, because the passing of the facial nerve, so any mistake during operations may lead to trauma to this important structure. The important one, the facial nerve and its five terminal branches. Another thing, structures that is very important and passing through the parotid gland, it's retromandibular vein. The retromandibular vein also passing through the parotid gland. Also during operations by the dentist or by the surgeons, it must be precise and it must be in a conservative way, okay, so uh, prevent trauma to these important structures. Another important structure that passes through the parotid gland, it's the external carotid artery. External carotid artery and its two terminal branch. Look. So the facial nerve and its five terminal branch, retromandibular vein and its two division, maxillary vein and superficial temporal vein, external carotid artery and its two terminal branches. These are the important things about the parotid gland. So related to the facial nerve, which passes through the gland, it means parotid gland, and divided it into the superficial lobe and deep lobe. The duct of the parotid gland is called Stinsons duct, crossed the masseter muscle, so it's pierced and crossed the masseter muscle. Then before piercing the vaccinator muscle, it enters to the oral cavity through the small papillae opposite to the second upper molar. By the tip of the tongue, if you by the tip of the tongue, you can feeling the pulp of this small papillae. It's the duct of the parotid gland opposite to the upper second molars. The duct name is Stinsons duct. About the blood supply of the parotid gland, artery, venous and lymphatic drainage. About the artery, the external carotid artery, external carotid artery and its terminal branch within the gland, they supply the parotid gland. About the venous, into the retromandibular vein, lymphatic drainage into the periauricular, superficial cervical and deep cervical node. Okay. Sorry, for the blood supply of the parotid gland, the arterial, the external carotid artery and its terminal branch within the gland, venous by they drain into the retromandibular vein, and lymphatic drainage into the parotid and superficial cervical and deep cervical lymph node. We reach to the submandibular glands. It's roughly G-shaped. It's G-shaped gland about size of the walnut. Large superficial and small deep parts. So we have two parts, superficial and deep part, continuous with each other around the posterior border of the mylohyoid. So this is the submandibular salivary glands. This is the shape of this picture. It's important for the exams. I put it the marker on the point on the gland and I say what is the name of this gland. You must write down submandibular salivary glands. The submandibular salivary glands, it lies in the digestive triangle. The anterior portion extends in contact with the floor of the mouth. The duct name is Wharton's duct. Wharton's. For the parotid is called Stinson, while the duct of submandibular called Wharton's duct open near the frenum of the tongue. This is the submandibular glands. So this picture is very important for the it's very important for the final exam. These pictures. Also these pictures. This picture is also very important. It shows the exact positions of the salivary glands. Also, superficial part of the submandibular gland. We have the deep part of the submandibular gland. It's like a G-shaped, as you say. Look, you can see the G-shaped of the submandibular gland. It looks like a G shape. It deep part. We have a deep part and superficial part. So and also it's Wharton's duct. Look, submandibular duct. So all these points are important for the exams. It's easy, but little bit need the concentrations. It's very easy. You can easily recognize which one is a parotid gland, which one is the submandibular gland, and which one is the sublingual gland for the exam. I put it a marker on the one of them, and you must just write down the name of the gland. Just that's it for the practical exams. About the sublingual gland, lie in contact with the submandibular duct. It's short, multiple ducts enter directly to the floor of the mouth. It have many ducts, not just one duct. Okay, so this is the sublingual salivary glands. Is the
دكتورة،
smallest. Bale? Yes.
سلايد 17 اللي قبل شوية شرحت عليه، هذا حفظ لا فقط الاطلاع؟
Which one?
17
This one?
الأزرق.
This one?
ايه ايه
This point is very important. You can see this point, the superficial part of the submandibular gland, the deep part of the submandibular gland, and submandibular duct. These are important. Just this one.
تمام ثانك يو.
Tamam? Okay,
تمام.
just the gland. Only gland are important for the exams. Only gland and their duct. Okay, this duct is for the submandibular gland. This duct is for the parotid gland, the green one. Is it clear?
كلير ثانك يو.
It's easy. I think it's so easy, the practical of anatomy, because it's just a
Very
picture.
easy.
Okay. So about the sublingual, smallest of the three glands, almond shaped, they weigh 3 to 4 grams, lies beneath the oral mucosa in contact with the sublingual fossa on the lingual aspect of the mandible. Okay, so this is the sublingual gland, and you can see there is not just one duct. We have a lot of ducts that attach to the beneath the tongue. You can see it doesn't have just one duct. It like the parotid gland and submandibular gland. It have a lot of ducts. Okay, so for the exam, I put it marker on the gland, and you must write down the submandibular gland or sublingual gland or parotid gland or the ducts. Okay, and for today, just this picture is important. I hope that it's easy and you understand what I say for you. Okay, and thank you for listening. Do you have any questions?
لا دكتورة.